Hey everyone, how's it going? I just got back from seeing Resident Evil Afterlife, and it was amazing, and I'm going to talk about it. Now, that being said, I am a huge Resident Evil fan, and if you guys see my collection video, you would know that. So, I'm not the type of person that, absolutely loves the games and says every movie of it sucks. I'm a huge fan of the movies. But I'm not I do have problems with with the movies, some things in the movies and such, and I'm gonna probably talk about the first three later on. But for now, I'm gonna talk about Afterlife while it's still fresh in my mind. Things I loved about it were the Maginies, kind of the Zom-Genies, whatever you want to call them. I liked how they're kind of bring it, but kind of like going along with the games. I mean, the games are going from zombies to Ganados to Maginies, and the movies are finally moving on from zombies, sort of. What I didn't like about the Maginies though is how they were used to be zombies. Well, I guess that's not the main problem, but like how the zombies sort of evolved into Maginies. I didn't like that. Uh, what I thought from the trailer is I thought Wesker, he's in it, had a group of zombies and somehow had the Lost Plagueis from somewhere. I don't know how. I was going to explain in the movie. And he had a group of zombies and injected it and it made them Zom-Genies, but it turns out the zombies evolved into them somehow, and I wasn't really a big fan of that part. Uh, the executioner from Resident Evil 5 was in it. He looked almost exactly like it. I like him from the game, except he was just a little bit skinnier. Otherwise, it was the executioner, and it was an awesome fight scene with him. Wesker was badass as usual. In the third movie, when they finally put Wesker, I was so excited. I was waiting for him to do his thrust punch and his kicks and his crazy uppercuts and stuff like that. And no, in the third movie, he just sat in a chair the whole time he was on screen. That really made me mad. So he finally got to do stuff in this movie, and there was stuff taken completely from Resident Evil 5. Just the exact same moves, the exact same lines, sort of. And the dogs in the movie were cool too. They were just like the dogs from Resident Evil 5. This movie was pretty much, I want to say, based off Resident Evil 5, kind of, or they took elements from Resident Evil 5. And the dogs playing their head, they look almost like exactly like the parasites. Yeah, they were very cool looking. Things I didn't like about the movie were, as I mentioned, the Zom-Genies evolving from zombies before. The really only major problem I had with this movie was at the end, and this is a huge, huge spoiler. I forgot to say I'm going to spoil the movie. I can't do a review without spoiling. I'll put an annotation up at the beginning too, just in case. Uh, it's at the end. Wesker was a Magini, kind of. He had like the mandibles a Magini has, and I just didn't like that at all. I think Wesker should be Wesker, and he should have the virus he had from the games. Some I don't know where he got it from in the movies, but that's what I think he should have, and not uh, be this weird. He was like a weird kind of zombie, basically, because he said he had to feed on fresh DNA to stay alive and regenerate himself, and it was kind of weird. And I didn't really like that at all. I like the video game Wesker way better. I'm sure many people do. Um, and the clones from the third movie are back in this movie, and I absolutely. That's one thing I hated about Extinction was the clones. I absolutely hated the clones, and they came back in this movie, and that's also what I hated about. I mean, I know this doesn't follow the game at all, but having all those clones is absolutely nothing like the game. Absolutely nothing. And I was excited. Many clones died in this one, if not all. And that is pretty much my thoughts on the Afterlife. I'm very excited. I am sure. Oh, another quick note. I'm sick how Resident Evil movies always end in a cliffhanger, which I'm not saying I don't like cliffhangers, but I don't like waiting another 3 years for another movie to come out. As much as I love the movies, part of me wishes they would end so I can stop seeing these cliffhangers and get all anticipated for another one. And even then, for the first three movies, I wasn't 100% sure they were going to make another one. Being if you make a cliffhanger, doesn't mean you have to make a sequel. But this ending, the ending for Resident Evil Afterlife, this is the first time I'm 100% positive they're going to make a fifth one. And if they don't, I'll make it myself. Alright, those are my thoughts on Resident Evil Afterlife. Please comment on what you thought about the movie if you saw it. If you hate the movie, explain why. If you're not a fan of Resident Evil at all, I guess explain why. I don't know why you're here. I don't know why I'm still talking, so I'm going to leave now, and I'm Mr. T Virus 24 saying goodbye.